reason why we started our business was opportunity and flexibility. Having 2 young kids and working in the corporate world, we wanted something where we'd be able to better take advantage of our time and have something where you have the opportunity to earn more money. In real estate, the harder you work, the more you earn, versus, at least for me at my corporate job where I was a salaried employee, the harder I worked, I still had the same outcome at the end of the day. And I think that was a big key factor for both of us.
Yeah, I would agree. Being a salaried employee myself as well, the putting in the extra hours and not reaping any sort of reward, just after a while that kind of gets old. So I'm all about reaping what I sow and putting in the time and effort to work with a certain person, knowing that there's a direct benefit to that at the end. And then building the relationships. I always like interacting with people, so getting the chance to meet a variety of people at the variety of not only incomes but situations that they've come across, and working with them through that, something that's always been appealing. So, and that's only been, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's only grown since getting into this to see how that has played out.
Actually, I kind of started learning about real estate back in the early 50s when my father started building. So I kind of grew up around it, but never really had any interest in it. And when I got out of school, I went right into food and beverage hospitality. I spent 25 years in that field. And when I came home from Japan back in the mid-90s, my brother Ken was building it then. And so he said, why don't you get your real estate license and start selling with me? And I'm like, I'm a salesperson. I'm a service person. I'm not a salesperson. But anyways, he talked me into it, so I got my license, and I'm in my 20th year now, and I've realized it really isn't a sales position for me. It's more of a service position. I look at it as a business of building relationships with people and servicing their needs as opposed to selling real estate.
Well, before I went into real estate, I did skincare, cosmetics, the makeup industry, and I did sales. I was a sales manager, a sales coordinator, a marketing director in that sense. As far as I planned events, I did makeup artistry, and my goal was to make sure that sales were so much. Eventually, it got to the point where I realized that I enjoyed what I was doing, but I didn't like the makeup side of it. I liked the sales side of it more. I liked the people side of it, but I didn't really enjoy what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. You know, it felt repetitive, it felt boring, and you know, through a long stream of events, I had a client who convinced me to go into real estate. And then I came here, and I remember I called Ellen. I called Ellen Shaken Up, and I said, Ellen, I just got licensed. What do I do? Ellen told me, well, come on in. And I met with Dave, and you know, I sat down and kind of went over the general logistics of it. You know, he talked and he, you know, answered my questions, and I liked what I heard. So luckily I was able to have other people help me make this happen, because if I didn't have that, there's no way I could have made this career happen.